Hey everyone, strap in because the grid just went dark forever. Roads are clogged with ghosts, and the only vote that counts is the one coming out of your barrel. I've been buried in declassified tests, failure logs from hellish environments, and first-hand accounts from places that already look like the end times. All to answer one question: which handgun refuses to die when everything else does? 6 months of that grind later, I'm dropping the ultimate top 20, starting from beast mode and ramping up to the absolute monarch I'd trust with my last breath. No fluff, no sponsorships, just cold hard survival truth. Let's roll. Starting strong at number 20, the Canik METE SF, the budget beast that straight up embarrasses guns twice its price and then laughs about it. This Turkish powerhouse cranks out 18+1 rounds of 9mm down a cold hammer forge match grade barrel that's optics ready from the factory. No aftermarket tax needed. The trigger is stupid good, breaking like a glass rod at around 3.5 pounds, with a reset so short you'll swear it's cheating, letting you dump accurate fire faster than most shooters can think. Out of the box, it'll print sub 4-inch groups at 25 yards all day long, and you're walking away for under $400 street, sometimes closer to $350 if you catch a sale. Warren-style steel sights come standard, co-witness ready, and the grip panels swap out like Lego, so it fits fat gloves, skinny mitts, or busted knuckles after a rough week. Magazines drop free, and here's the kicker: they'll slide right into certain Sig holsters without a hiccup, which is huge when you're scavenging gear off the ground. Canik built these in the same plants feeding the Turkish military and police, so they're designed to eat sand, rain, and neglect without choking, not just to look pretty on a range selfie. The polymer frame is beefy where it counts, but light enough to forget it's there until you need it. And the slide has aggressive front and rear serrations that bite even when your hands are slick with sweat or worse. On the downside, brand loyalty is still growing in the States, so holsters and pouches aren't quite as common as Glock or Smith yet. And some old school shops might look at you funny when you ask for parts, though online support is exploding. Resale value holds strong because word's getting out that these aren't just clone guns, they're refined evolutions that fixed what the big names ignored. In a collapse, that low entry price means you can buy 2 or 3 for the cost of one boutique pistol, stash 1 in the truck, 1 in the safe, 1 on the hip, and still have cash left for ammo. Reliability reports from overseas contracts show these running tens of thousands of rounds with basic care. And the aftermarket is catching up fast with threaded barrels, compensators, and red dot plates. If you're the type who wants premium performance without the premium ego, the METE SF is your gateway drug to staying lethal on a beer budget. Stock up on mags and a spare recoil spring now, because when dollars turn to kindling, this thing keeps the fire coming without ever asking for a bailout. 19th spot locks in the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, the cop gun that's been riding shotgun in cruisers from Miami to Seattle and everywhere in between, quietly building a reputation as the no-drama workhorse department's trust when the radio crackles and things go sideways. You're looking at 17+1 of 9mm running through a barrel that's long enough to keep velocity honest, without turning the gun into a boat anchor, and the whole package sits at a weight that disappears on the belt after the first hour. The grip texture is borderline obnoxious until you're soaked in sweat, half frozen, or slick with someone else's mess. Then it turns into your best friend that refuses to let go. Everything is ambidextrous, slide stop, mag release, even an optional thumb safety if your agency writes that into policy. So lefties and righties both stay in the fight without flipping the gun around like a puzzle. Early M&Ps caught flack for mushy triggers that felt like stirring oatmeal, but the 2.0 overhaul delivered a crisp break around 5 pounds, with a reset you can feel through gloves, turning follow-up shots into second nature. Out of the box, it'll stack rounds tight enough to cover with a coffee lid at defensive distances, and that's before you tweak anything. What really cements its survival cred is the sheer volume of these things already in circulation. When the supply chain collapses, police trade-ins and lost and found boxes will be spilling M&P magazines and slide parts like party favors. Holsters? Pick a flavor, leather, kydex, duty, concealment, they're all out there. Aftermarket barrels, lights, and optics cuts are a dime a dozen, so you can keep the same gun relevant for decades. Downsides are few but real. The bore axis sits a hair higher than some Euro wonders, so muzzle flip takes a touch more wrist. And if you're chasing sub-MOA bragging rights, this isn't your match queen. Street price hovers right around $450 new, often less on the used cop gun market, making it the sweet spot where duty-grade toughness meets everyman affordability. It won't win beauty contests or Instagram likes, but when the shift never ends and the world forgets what tomorrow looks like, the M&P 2.0 just keeps clocking in, asking zero questions and delivering every time you squeeze. That's why it parks itself at 19, not flashy, not fragile, just the quiet professional that gets you home. 18th spot goes to the Ruger GP100, the ultimate cash queen that flips total neglect into your biggest survival edge when polymer wonders are choking on rust or cracked frames. This beast chambers 6 rounds of thunderous .357 Magnum through a 4.2-inch barrel wrapped in 40 ounces of all stainless steel glory that laughs at rain, snow, mud, or decades in a buried PVC tube. Forget magazines that bend, lips that split, or springs that quit after a wet winter. Just drop it in a creek, yank it out years later, spin the cylinder, and it's ready to roar like day one. It happily gulps cheaper .38 Special too, so any random box of lead you scrounge keeps the fight alive without picky feeding issues. That hefty frame soaks up recoil like a champ, turning wrist-snapping Magnum blasts into controllable thump that lets you hammer home defense or drop deer for the pot with authority. Pull double action for lightning fast, close quarters dumps when someone's breathing down your neck, or cock the hammer for silky single-action precision that stretches effective range out to 50 yards or more, when every single slug has to count. Ruger crafts these revolvers like family heirlooms, triple-locking the cylinder, over-engineering the crane, and heat-treating every stress point so the gun literally outlives you and your grandkids combined. Sure, you only get 6 shots instead of 17, reloads are slower without speed loaders, and the brick-on-hip weight isn't winning any concealed carry beauty contests, but 6 shots that always, without fail, go bang beat a high-cap semi that turns into an expensive club the moment grit sneaks in. On the market, the GP100 sits in that sweet mid-tier price range, usually landing around $600 to $700 new, depending on barrel length and finish, making it affordable enough for serious preppers, yet overbuilt enough to command respect from custom shops. Parts are everywhere thanks to Ruger's lifetime warranty and massive production runs. Moon clips and speed loaders are cheap and plentiful, and holsters range from basic leather to tactical nylon. In a world where good enough gets people killed, the GP100 is the revolver that refuses to compromise on reliability, earning its throne as the set-it-and-forget-it king for long-term caches, remote cabins, or any scenario where maintenance is a luxury you can't afford. 17th spot belongs to the Beretta 92, or call it the M9 if you're feeling that old-school military vibe. This all-metal beast that shouldered the load for American troops across 3 solid decades before the Sig took over. And honestly, it's still kicking harder than most polymer wonders dream of. We're talking a full aluminum frame wrapped around steel internals that laughs in the face of sun-bleached dashboards, hard drops from helicopters, or decades buried in a cache because rust and corrosion just bounce off like bad advice. That iconic open-top slide isn't just for looks. It dumps sand, mud, and grit straight through the ejection port, so jams become bedtime stories instead of nightmares. And yeah, the official military torture logs clocked over 35,000 rounds without a single hiccup. Which is wild when you remember. This thing was designed back when floppy disks were cutting edge. Trigger starts with a long double-action pull around 12 pounds for that first deliberate shot, then flips to a buttery single action around 5 for lightning follow-ups once you're in the groove. And after a couple hundred rounds of break-in, it feels like an extension of your finger rather than a tool. Surplus magazines are literally piling up in every gun shop basement and online marketplace. Cheap as dirt, with Metgar 18-rounders pushing capacity if you want to stretch it. And out at the range, it'll stack holes in 3-inch clusters all day long, making it a legit precision instrument for stretching ammo on distant threats, or putting meat on the table. Sure, it's a boat anchor compared to compact carry options. tipping the scales at 33 ounces unloaded and stretching nearly 9 inches overall. So, deep concealment under a t-shirt is a joke, unless you're built like a linebacker. But when society hits reset and printing isn't the priority, that heft soaks up recoil like a champ and screams, "I'm here for the long haul." Market-wise, you can snag a solid used M9 for $300 to $500 these days, sometimes less at estate sales or police trade-ins, with parts availability that's frankly ridiculous thanks to millions in circulation and aftermarket support from everyone and their brother. Downsides? The decocker safety combo takes training to master without sweeping yourself, and the grip is blocky for smaller hands unless you swap to thinner panels. Plus, it's thirsty for lube in dusty environments if you want peak smoothness. But for a primary battle pistol that outlasts owners, turns neglect into a non-issue, and keeps chugging when plastic frames are cracking from age or abuse, the Beretta 92 remains a timeless survivor that's earned every bit of its legend status. 16th on the countdown is the HK VP9, straight-up Teutonic perfection that turns torture into a relaxing afternoon at the spa. Because when the world's on fire, this thing just keeps chilling and cycling like nothing happened. We're talking a full 17+1 of 9mm pushing through a crisp, 4-inch cold hammer forged barrel, tipping the scales around 26 ounces loaded. But the magic isn't in the spec sheet. It's in the details that make you forget you're holding a polymer pistol. That paddle mag release sits right where your finger wants it, dropping steel like it's hot even if you're rocking thick winter gloves. Or your offhand is wrapped in a bloody rag, and the charging supports jutting off the rear of the slide let you rack the action one-handed against a belt, boot heel, or barricade when the other arm's out of commission. The striker trigger is pure royalty, breaking clean at 4.5 pounds with zero take-up, zero creep, and a reset so short you'll swear it's cheating, while the low-bore axis keeps the muzzle flipped to a polite nod, so follow-up shots land before the echo dies. Out of the box, it's optics ready with a plate system that swallows every major red dot, and the side panels plus backstraps swap faster than Lego bricks, letting you dial the grip for giant mitts, tiny paws, or anything swollen from a week on the run. European militaries and top-tier police forces have been beating on these for years, so the supply chain is rock solid even if borders turn into suggestions. And while magazines run a little pricier than the Glock Flood, you'll still find them in pro armories worldwide. Market-wise, it's the thinking man's striker gun, sitting in that sweet spot above budget blasters but below custom shop wallets, usually landing around $600 to $700 new, depending on the flavor. Downsides? Yeah, the mag cost and slightly taller profile mean it's not the king of deep concealment, and if you're used to Glock muscle memory, the paddle can feel alien at first. But once you train it in, the speed advantage is undeniable. Bottom line, German over-engineering doesn't mess around. It flat-out dominates when lesser guns are coughing up brass and excuses, making the VP9 a quiet legend that earns every inch of its 16th place crown. 15th on the countdown is the CZ P10C, hands down the sweetest factory trigger you can grab for under $500. The kind of crisp 4.5-pound break with a glass wall take-up and audible reset that makes $1,000 strikers feel overpriced and overhyped. We're talking a compact polymer 9 that runs 15+1 out of the box, balanced enough to fight with all day yet small enough to tuck away when you need to move quiet. Built in a Czech factory that's been cranking out military sidearms since before most of us were born. So every single unit gets hammered with proof loads hot enough to blow the slides off knockoffs, just to prove the internals can take a lifetime of abuse without complaint. Swappable backstraps and side panels let you dial the grip for bare knuckles, thick gloves, or swollen fingers after a week of hard labor. And that obsessive quality control shows up the second you press the trigger. Groups tighten, follow-ups snap back on target, and every round you fire lands exactly where panic wants it to miss. European armies and police forces have been signing contracts for years, which means spare parts, springs, and extractors will still be floating around long after big box stores are looted shells, and the aftermarket is exploding with holsters, threaded barrels, weapon lights, and night sights that drop right in without gunsmith drama. Sure, magazines aren't quite as common as the sea of Glock plastic you'll trip over in the ruins, and some purists whine that the slide stop is a hair small for sausage fingers under stress. But at this price point, You're getting match-grade feel and battlefield pedigree that embarrasses guns costing triple, making it the ultimate why spend more choice for anyone who wants to stretch pre-collapse cash into post-collapse confidence. Out of the box, it points naturally, recoils softly, and rewards good fundamentals with sub-3-inch clusters at realistic ranges. So, when adrenaline is spiking and ammo is measured in last mag terms, that trigger is the difference between a clean center hit and a prayer that misses wide. Market-wise, it's carving out a loyal cult, following among competitive shooters and duty carriers alike, quietly climbing agency adoption lists because it simply works every single time. No excuses, no babying, turning budget-conscious preppers into precision machines without forcing them to choose between rent and reliability. If you're building a kit that has to last decades on a wallet that won't, the P10C is the sleeper pick that wakes up smiling after the world ends. 14th spot goes to the Walther PDP, the underrated sleeper that's quietly stealing contracts from big-name agencies all over the globe and turning heads in a market dominated by the usual suspects. This thing is optics ready straight out of the box with a performance duty trigger that feels like 4 pounds of absolute heaven. A glass rod break so clean, it spoils you for anything else, and a reset you can feel and hear even under stress. The modular grip system wraps around your hand like it was custom sculpted just for you, with panels you can swap in seconds to fit small palms, gloved knuckles, or anything in between. And that super low bore axis turns muzzle flip into a gentle nudge, letting you hammer follow-ups faster than most shooters can think. You can run the full-size slide for duty work, or drop on the compact version for concealed carry without skipping a beat. And out-of-the-box accuracy flirts with ridiculous tightness that makes sub-2-inch groups at 25 yards feel routine with decent ammo. Magazines play nice with the older PPQ series, so you're not starting from zero on logistics. And the overall ergos are so intuitive that 8-hour range days or all-night patrols feel like a breeze instead of a grind. It's not plastered on every cop car like Glock or Sig yet, which keeps aftermarket support growing but not overwhelming, and street price hovers right around the $600 sweet spot, making it a premium feel without the wallet punishment. Sure, holsters and spare parts aren't littering the landscape quite like the big boys, and some old-school types knock the polymer aesthetic. But once you shoot it, the magic is in the details. That trigger alone saves ammo by putting rounds exactly where panic wants them to wander. And the balance makes transitions silky, whether you're running drills or real-world chaos. In a collapse scenario, this isn't the gun you'll scavenge mags for in every abandoned cruiser, but it's the one that rewards training and keeps performing when lesser platforms start hiccuping from neglect or abuse. Agencies are adopting it in waves because it bridges duty reliability with competition-level shootability, and for the prepared civilian, it's the dark horse that turns good days into guaranteed wins and bad days into stories you live to tell. 13th place goes to the Sig P320, the modular wizard that stole the US Army's affection and earned the official M17 and M18 badges after outgunning every rival in those brutal modular handgun trials. Picture this: one serialized fire control unit that lets you snap on full-size frames for duty, compact grips for carry, subcompact slides for deep concealment, or even swap calibers from 9mm to 40 or 357 SIG in minutes with zero tools, making it the ultimate Swiss Army sidearm when supply lines vanish and you need to adapt on the fly. It devoured Arctic freezes, desert sandstorms, concrete drops from helicopters, and round counts that sent lesser pistols to the scrap heap, all while keeping that flat-face trigger snapping at a crisp 5.5-pound break with a short, positive reset that feels custom even in stock form. Factory 21-round extended mags turn it into a mini carbine when the horde shows up. And military adoption means magazines, holsters, and spare parts are stockpiled in armories from coast to coast, ready for scavenging long after civilian stores are looted dry. On the flip side, early production models had that infamous drop safety hiccup. So, if you're buying used, make damn sure it's post-voluntary upgrade, or send it back to SIG for the free fix, because in a collapse, you can't afford a pistol that goes click when it should go bang. Market-wise, it's everywhere. Every cop shop, big box retailer and online dealer pushes P320s at prices starting around $500 for basic models, climbing to $700 or $800 for optics-ready tactical versions threaded for cans. Aftermarket support is exploding with Apex triggers, Grey Guns kits, and Wilson combat frames that turn a solid duty gun into a race piece without breaking reliability. Law enforcement agencies from small-town PDs to federal task forces keep choosing it for the same reason the Army did. One gun, endless configurations, proven tougher than the apocalypse itself. Bottom line, if your survival plan demands flexibility without sacrificing combat-grade toughness, the P320 isn't just an option, it's the blueprint for staying armed no matter what tomorrow looks like. 12th spot goes to the Glock 17, the full-size logistics twin that kicked off the polymer revolution and turned a chunky Austrian brick into the most copied handgun blueprint on Earth. We're talking 17+1 rounds of 9mm through a 4.5-inch barrel, tipping the scales around 25 ounces loaded. But forget the spec sheet because this thing's real. Magic is in the marathon endurance. Glock torture tests push these past 500,000 rounds without swapping major parts if you keep feeding it decent ammo and the frame laughs off being buried in mud for months. Dunked in salt water or baked in a truck dash under desert sun. Every single 9mm Glock magazine, from the compact 26 to the extended 33 rounders, drops in and runs flawlessly. So, scavenging one random stick in the apocalypse suddenly equips your whole team with extended firepower. Global adoption by police departments in over 100 countries and militaries from Norway to Brazil means broken extractors, recoil springs, and even slides will be lying around in abandoned cruisers and barracks for decades. The trigger is straight up vanilla, nothing fancy, but that consistent 5.5-pound pull with the same wall and reset every single time becomes a lifesaver when adrenaline turns your fingers to jelly and you need predictability over perfection. No external safeties to forget, no decocker to hunt for. Just rack, point, and send it. Grip angle sparks endless bar arguments. Some swear it points high, others say it's instinctive. But in the real world, that debate fades when the gun refuses to choke on sand, rust, or neglect. Market position is untouchable. Street price hovers right around $500 new, making it affordable enough to stock multiples without breaking the prep budget, yet premium enough that agencies trust it for daily duty. Drawbacks are real though. The blocky ergonomics can feel like shaking hands with a 2x4 if you have small mitts. And the stock plastic sights are basic at best, begging for an upgrade to night sights or a red dot cut. Aftermarket support is deeper than any rival. Holsters, lights, threaded barrels, you name it, someone makes it. In a collapse, parts commonality alone elevates this from great to God tier, because one captured police armory could keep a dozen GZ-17s running indefinitely. It's not the sexiest, not the smoothest, but when reliability is the only currency that matters, the Glock 17 remains the gold standard that everything else measures against. 11th spot goes to the FN 509, the striker-fired dark horse that stormed the Army's brutal modular handgun trials, survived every grain of sand, freeze, and flood they threw at it, yet somehow walked away without the big contract win. And honestly, that snub just made it hungrier, turning a near miss into a sharper, meaner survivor that's quietly climbing duty holsters across law enforcement and private security nationwide. Picture this beast packing a crisp 17+1 of 9mm down a 4-inch cold hammer forged barrel, tipping scales at a balanced 27 ounces loaded, feeling solid in hand without dragging you down on long patrols or bug-out treks. Those front and rear slide serrations dig in deep like they mean business, letting you rack the slide one-handed off a boot heel or belt edge, even if your fingers are numb from Arctic wind, slick with rain, or sticky from a bad day. The low bore axis sits the muzzle right over your wrist bones, taming flip, so your sights snap back on target for lightning follow-ups when seconds decide who goes home. Grip texture is borderline abrasive in the best way, locking into palms through sweat, blood, or heavy gloves without shredding skin on marathon range sessions. FN builds these on the same lines as their machine guns and rifles for militaries worldwide, so quality control is obsessive. Parts are over-engineered to shrug off neglect. and the whole package runs filthy for thousands of rounds without a hiccup, proven in dust bowls and monsoons that choke lesser guns. Trigger breaks clean around 5.5 pounds. With a short reset, you can ride like a sewing machine under stress. Optics-ready slide means slap on a red dot, and you're running modern without gunsmith drama. And suppressor height sights come standard on tactical models for co-witness perfection. Street price hovers right around $600, putting it in that sweet premium but attainable zone, where you're not breaking the bank but still getting heirloom toughness. Market-wise, it's the thinking man's alternative to Glock or Sig, adopted by more agencies every year as word spreads about its bomb-proof resume, though magazines run scarcer in the wild compared to the big two. So grab a half dozen extras up front and cash them smart. Drawbacks? It's not the lightest for appendix carry all day. And if you're scavenging in a total collapse, FN mags won't litter the landscape like Glock bricks. But for a primary fighter that blends military pedigree with real-world grit, this thing is a tactical fortress you can bet your backup plan on. 10th rolls in the Springfield Hellcat Pro, the micro-compact king that's rewriting what a pocket pistol can do by cramming full-size fight into something that disappears faster than your hopes in a blackout. This little beast packs 15 + 1 rounds of 9mm down a 4-inch slide, tipping the scales at just 24 ounces loaded up. And it comes optics ready straight from the factory with a trigger that snaps clean at around 5 pounds. No creep, no mush, just pure confidence when your heart's pounding. The adaptive grip texture is like memory foam for your hand, swelling and gripping no matter if you're sweating bullets, wearing thick gloves in the freeze, or dealing with blood-slick palms after a scrape. And those tritium U-notch sights light up the dark like a personal beacon when the power grid's a distant memory. It chews through any defensive load you feed it, hitting those magic FBI penetration numbers every time, making it lethal inside that nasty 7 to 10 yard bubble where most survival scraps go down ugly and personal. Sure, it's not built for slinging lead at 50 yards or winning bullseye contests, and recoil can bite a bit harder than a full-size thanks to the snappy package. But that's the trade for something you can appendix carry under a t-shirt or toss in a jacket pocket without printing like a billboard. Market-wise, Springfield's been pushing these hard into law enforcement circles, so agencies are adopting quick, meaning spare parts and mags are starting to pop up in armories and surplus drops. Though they're still playing catch-up to Glock-level ubiquity, so grab extras while they're cheap and plentiful. Priced around the $500 mark, depending on the config, it's not the cheapest micro out there, but you're paying for proven reliability that doesn't flinch in mud, rain, or drop tests that would cripple lesser guns. In a collapse, when your primary's slung or stashed, and you're moving light through hostile streets, foraging alone, or crashing in some abandoned shell, this is the stealth equalizer that turns unarmed into a bad joke on anyone dumb enough to test you. It's not your only gun, but it's the one you'll thank heaven for when the big iron's out of reach and seconds decide if you see tomorrow. Small footprint, savage soul, perfect for the prepper who knows layered defense beats praying for luck every single time. 9th spot goes to the Staccato P4, the double-stack 2011 that flips the script on what a premium pistol can be without coming off like some overpriced flex. This thing packs 17 + 1 rounds of 9mm down a 4.25-inch bull barrel inside a 30-ounce all-steel frame that shoots like it's glued to your hand, delivering groups so tight at 25 yards you'll swear the target's shrinking. The single-action trigger breaks at a featherlight 3 pounds with 0 creep, and a reset you can feel in your bones, turning frantic firefights into controlled chaos, where every shot lands exactly where your eyes are pointing. That flared magwell isn't just for show either. It swallows fresh mags like they're magnetized, letting you reload faster than most guys can even clear a malfunction. Built originally for the competition circuit where split-second edges win matches, it's crossed over hard into real-world duty with law enforcement teams and private security outfits who need something that won't choke in monsoon mud or desert dust storms, and it just keeps running dirty as long as you feed it decent magazines. Sure, the price tag sits north of $2,000, which stings up front and puts it in the same conversation as custom shop queens. But here's the math that matters in a collapse. One Staccato will outlast 3 or 4 budget guns that crack frames or shear pins after a few thousand rounds. And when parts pipelines dry up, the simplicity of the 1911 platform means any half-decent tinkerer can keep it humming with basic tools. Market-wise, Staccato carved out a cult, following among shooters who want Gucci performance without the waitlist drama of full bespoke builders. And resale holds strong because everyone knows these are heirloom pieces. Downsides, it's heavier than polymer wonders, so all-day carry can wear on the belt, and you'll want a budget for quality mags because cheap ones will turn paradise into a jam fest. Still, when you're holding a barricade or need to drop a threat at distance to save precious ammo, the P4 doesn't just get the job done, it turns survival into an art form, pure poetry forged in steel and fire. 8th spot goes to the Ruger LCP Max, that pint-sized .380 powerhouse that flips the script on being caught empty-handed when the chaos hits hardest during those quiet, vulnerable moments, like stripping down for a river crossing, crashing out in a hide, or just moving fast and light through hostile turf without your full battle belt. Clocking in at a ridiculous 10 ounces empty, this thing slips into a pocket, ankle rig, or even a neck pouch and vanishes like it was never there. Yet it packs 10+1 rounds through a stubby 2.8-inch barrel with an upgraded bladed trigger that snaps clean and predictable, way smoother than the original LCP's mushy pull that left folks cursing. The sights are minimalist. Low-profile nubs that actually line up quick in daylight for those 7 to 10 yard reality checks where most survival scraps go down. And with today's defensive hollow points, it punches right through the FBI penetration benchmarks, expanding reliably to drop threats at bad breath distance without over-penetrating into the next county. Sure, it's no long-range hammer, recoil can sting in tiny hands, and follow-ups demand practice to keep on target. But that's the trade for something lighter than a loaded wallet that you can literally forget you're carrying until you need it. On the market, Ruger keeps these rolling out at around $300 street, making it one of the cheapest insurance policies against getting jumped, while your primary is stashed or stripped away. And while .380 ammo costs a hair more than 9 mil. It's still common enough in corner stores and police trade-ins to scavenge when the shelves empty. Parts are dead simple, no fancy optics cuts or modularity to break. Just pure Ruger toughness that shrugs off lint, sweat, and neglect. Though aftermarket holsters and mag extensions are limited compared to the big boys. So, grab a couple 12-rounders up front. In a layered defense setup, this isn't your go-to fighter. It's the backup that ensures unarmed stays a myth. The whisper-quiet guardian for foraging runs, bathroom breaks, or when injury forces you to downsize, turning potential disasters into not-today victories, and earning its keep as the ultimate unsung hero of always-on carry in a world gone dark. 7th brings us the timeless Colt Python, the revolver that's been dropping legends since the 70s and still turns heads in a polymer world. This snake packs 6 rounds of .357 Magnum Thunder down a 4.5-inch vent rib barrel, wrapped in 38 ounces of polished stainless steel that feels like money in your hand and shoots like a dream. You can grab a classic reissue for around $1,200, or hunt down a clean used one closer to $9. Either way, it's heirloom money that pays dividends when everything else is scrap. The double action pull is butter smooth at 10 pounds. Then flips to a single action break around 3 that lets you thread needles at 50 yards to save ammo or put dinner on the table. That heavy frame eats recoil for breakfast, letting you dump magnum loads all day without punishing your wrist. And it'll happily swallow cheaper .38 special when the good stuff runs dry. No magazines to lose, no feed lips to bend. Just drop it in mud, rinse it off, spin the cylinder, and it's back in the fight. Colt overbuilds these with a triple lock cylinder and heat-treated crane that laughs at 100,000 round lifespan. And the adjustable rear sight plus fiber optic front make precision second nature, even when your hands are shaking from cold or adrenaline. Sure, capacity is only 6. Reloads need speed loaders to stay competitive, and the price tag stings compared to plastic strikers, but 6 guaranteed hits beat 17 maybes every time the lights go out. Market-wise, the Python is the king of wheel guns. Parts are still flowing from Colt's lifetime pipeline. Holsters range from vintage leather to modern kydex, and moon clips keep it fast. In a collapse where good enough gets you killed, this is the revolver that turns reliability into royalty. the cash king you hand down when the story needs a hero. Sixth spot goes to the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, the slimline 9mm that packs a serious punch without ever feeling like it's trying too hard to impress. This thing is all about sneaking big gun performance into a frame so narrow it disappears under a t-shirt or inside a pocket when the world demands you move light and fast. You get 13+1 rounds of 9mm ready to go, stuffed into a package that weighs just 20 ounces loaded and rides on a 3.1-inch barrel that somehow still delivers fight-stopping accuracy out to realistic defensive distances. The flat-face trigger snaps clean with a short, audible reset that keeps you in the fight without hunting for the wall. And if you're into red dots, the optics cut slide is factory ready. No gunsmith drama required. Left-handed, no problem. Because the manual safety version flips the script for ambidextrous carry, and the whole gun feeds on everything from cheap range ball to hot PLUS-P defensive loads without a single burp. Ergonomics are spot on. The grip texture aggressive enough to lock in during a downpour or with sweaty palms, but not so sharkskin that it chews up your side after hours of carry. Out in the real world, police departments have been snapping these up like free coffee, which means when society hits the reset button, you'll stumble across shield mags in abandoned cruisers, evidence lockers, or even pawn shops turned survival depots, turning one lucky find into enough firepower for the whole crew. On the flip side, it's not a full-size duty blaster, so recoil is snappier than a Glock 19 and extended range work past 15 yards asks for real trigger discipline. Plus, aftermarket support is solid, but nowhere near Glock level endless. Still, street price hovers right around $400, making it one of the smartest dollars to reliability investments on the planet. Whether you're bugging out with a go bag, holding down the homestead nightstand, or layering a micro backup under your primary rig, the Shield Plus bridges every gap without ever announcing its presence until it's time to speak loud. Compact, controllable, and common enough to scavenge, this is the everyday fighter that refuses to let size become an excuse. Fifth spot shines the spotlight on the HK CC9, this pint-sized powerhouse that's basically a concealed carry revolution, wrapped in a sleek little package, turning everyday dress into deadly defense without anyone being the wiser. We're talking a true subcompact beast that packs 10+1 rounds of 9mm down a crisp 3-inch barrel, all while tipping the scales at a featherlight 20 ounces of premium alloy construction that feels like it was forged in some secret German lab for spies and survivors alike. That striker-fired trigger breaks clean around 5.5 pounds with these clever charging wings built right into the slide, letting you rack it one-handed off your belt, boot, or whatever's handy when you're down an arm or in a scramble. Swap out those grip scales in seconds to mold it perfectly to your palm. Whether you're running bare knuckles, thick gloves, or hands swollen from a rough day in the wild, it laughs off brutal drop tests, plunges through dirt and mud without skipping a beat, and those tritium night sights glow like angry fireflies to cut through the deepest blackout. This isn't just another Micro 9, it's HK's answer to the pocket rocket wars, sharing magazines with their bigger VP siblings for that sweet logistics chain when you're scavenging or stalking a team, meaning one mag find could arm multiple setups. On the market, it's positioned as a premium everyday carry option, retailing around $700, which puts it in that sweet spot above budget blasters but below full custom territory. And agencies are starting to snap them up for off-duty kits because the ergos are insanely intuitive and the low-bore axis tames snap like a pro. Sure, capacity tops out lower than duty-sized guns, and you'll pay a bit more for those proprietary mags compared to Glock ubiquity, but in a collapse where weight is the enemy and threats creep up close, this thing disappears on your body like morning fog while delivering fight-stopping punch exactly when you need it most. It's not built for standoff battles at distance, and spare parts aren't littering every pawn shop yet since HK keeps tight control, but for the prepared operator who values discretion, one-handed manipulation under stress, and that unbreakable Teutonic reliability in a package smaller than your phone, the CC9 isn't just victory. It's the silent guardian that ensures you walk away from the shadows every single time. Fourth spot crowns the Shadow Systems MR920. The Glock-inspired evolution, that took the aftermarket world by storm and turned a solid foundation into a duty-ready beast without the corporate baggage. This thing comes optics cut from the factory with a spiral-fluted bronze barrel that looks slick and sheds heat like a champ, packing 15+1 rounds of 9mm into a compact frame that tips the scales at a balanced 22 ounces loaded. The flat-face trigger breaks crisp around 4 pounds, with a reset so short you'll ride it like a machine gun. And the aggressive stippling locks your hand in place whether you're sweating through a summer bug-out or gloved up in a blizzard. Interchangeable backstraps let you dial the grip for any mitt size. And the extended beavertail plus undercut trigger guard mean you can ride high without getting bit on follow-ups. Shadow Systems built these on the same reliability DNA as Gen 3 Glocks, but upgraded every pain point. Better sights, smoother slide, and a magwell that funnels reloads like it's magnetized. Street price sits right around $850, putting it in premium territory without hitting full custom shop pain. And agencies plus competitive shooters are snapping them up because it runs dirty for thousands of rounds without complaint. Sure, magazines are Glock compatible, so you're swimming in the same logistics ocean, but holsters and specific parts aren't quite as universal yet, so stock a few extras up front. In a collapse, this isn't the gun you'll scavenge in every cruiser, but it's the one that blends proven bones with modern refinement, turning a familiar platform into a force multiplier that keeps you fast, accurate, and in the fight when the world tries to slow you down. Third spot goes to the Alchemy Custom Weaponry 1911, a true masterpiece where old-school soul collides with cutting-edge craftsmanship to create something that feels less like a tool and more like a family heirloom you can stake your life on. These aren't churned out on an assembly line. Every single one is hand-built by master gunsmiths who treat each frame like a canvas, blending the timeless 1911 design with modern CNC precision that makes tolerances tighter than a drum. We're talking a commander-length slide in 9mm holding 8+1, balanced at around 38 ounces of all-steel glory that soaks up recoil like it's nothing, letting you stay on target even after a full day of drills or a desperate defense. The trigger, a glass-smooth 2-pound brake that's been tuned to perfection, giving you surgical control whether you're threading shots at distance to conserve ammo or dumping rounds in a blur when someone's in your face. Slide cuts are deep and aggressive for one-handed manipulation off a belt or boot edge, and the finish is a proprietary armor that shrugs off rust, scratches, and years of hard use like it's coated in magic. Out of the box, it'll print sub-2-inch groups at 25 yards all day, and with the right loads, it patterns like a match rifle, making every pull count in a world where resupply is a fairy tale. Sure, it's not cheap, figure north of $3,000 depending on options, but in the custom 1911 world, Alchemy sits at the pinnacle, right up there with legends like Wilson Combat or Nighthawk, yet with a wait list that's shorter and a reputation for running filthy without complaint. The downside is obvious. Capacity tops out at 9 rounds total, so you better shoot straight, and parts aren't scavenging friendly like Polymer Wonder 9s. Maintenance is a ritual. Keep it lubed, use quality mags, and it'll reward you with a 100,000 round lifespan that outlasts civilizations. This isn't a gun for the masses, it's for the prepper who wants one irreplaceable sidearm that blends art, history, and apocalypse-proof performance into a single package. In a collapse, most gear fails quietly, but the Alchemy 1911 sings through the chaos, turning survival into something almost elegant. If you can swing the investment and commit to the care, this bespoke beast transforms a handgun from mere equipment into a legacy that keeps you breathing long after the world forgets how to. Second place is locked down by the CZ Shadow 2 OR, the steel frame DASA monster that turns a handgun into a precision instrument without ever sacrificing the grit needed to survive the end of days. This Czech beast packs 19+1 rounds of 9mm into a heavy, all-steel frame that weighs in around 46 ounces loaded, soaking up recoil like it's sipping tea so you can hammer follow-ups with surgical calm, even after hauling gear all day or shaking off a cold night in the dirt. The factory optics-ready slide swallows red dots without adapters, and those fiber optic front sights paired with a fully adjustable rear keep you dialed in from contact distance to stretching ammo on distant threats. CZ didn't just slap a trigger in there. They hand-fitted a match-grade unit that breaks at a crisp 3.5 pounds in single action, with zero creep and a reset you can ride like a sewing machine, while the double-action first pull stays smooth enough for high-stress snaps without throwing your rhythm. Built on the same bloodline as guns that dominate IPSC World Championships, it's been beaten on by European militaries and top-tier competition shooters alike, proving the frame and slide can chew through tens of thousands of rounds without losing zero or cracking under neglect. Sure, it's a boat anchor compared to polymer wonders, so deep concealment is off the table unless you're built like a linebacker, and the price tag hovers right around $1,300 depending on the finish. Putting it in premium territory where you're paying for heirloom toughness over budget blasters. Magazines run $20+ each and aren't littering police cruisers like Glock bricks, so cash a dozen now while supply lines still exist. And the all-metal construction demands a little more love with lube and cleaning in sandy hell than a plastic fantastic. But in a collapse where precision saves ammo and steel outlives plastic, the Shadow 2, OR isn't just a sidearm, it's a force multiplier that turns good shooters into great ones and great ones into legends. Agencies are snapping up the compact versions for duty. Custom shops are overflowing with upgrade paths, and resale holds rock solid because everyone knows this is the gun you hand down when the story needs a hero. For the survivor who wants one irreplaceable pistol that blends competition DNA with battlefield bones, the CZ Shadow 2 or doesn't just hold second place. It redefines what a handgun can be when the world burns, and only the strong write the rules. And finally, crowning the throne at number 1, the Glock 19, the undisputed king that earns its spot not through hype or shiny ads, but through decades of real-world punishment that would scrap lesser guns into oblivion. And let me tell you why this compact polymer legend is the one I'd grab if the apocalypse knocked tomorrow and I could only pick a single sidearm to ride out the storm. We're talking a sweet 15+1 rounds of 9mm, fed through a crisp 4-inch barrel, the whole package tipping the scales at just under 24 ounces when fully loaded, striking that magical Goldilocks balance where it's small enough to vanish under a jacket or slip into a bug-out bag without printing, yet big enough to dominate in a full-on firefight with controls that feel like an extension of your hand no matter how battered or gloved they get. I've pored over torture test footage that would make you wince. This thing gets frozen in ice blocks until it looks like a popsicle, run over by trucks that leave tire tracks on the slide, buried in desert sand for weeks, only to be dug up and fired without a single hiccup, cycling round after round like it just woke up from a nap, proving that Glock's infamous reliability isn't marketing fluff, but battlefield gospel, echoed from spec ops teams in forgotten corners to street cops patrolling urban jungles every shift. Share the massive magazine ecosystem with its bigger brother, the 17, meaning any scavenged Glock 9mm mag on the planet drops in and works, turning a lucky find into an instant resupply for you or your crew, while the aftermarket support runs deeper than any ocean trench with holsters, lights, optics, triggers, and barrels from every corner of the industry, keeping it adaptable long after factories go dark. 9mm is the world's most common cartridge, so when store shelves turn to dust and ammo becomes currency, you'll still be hunting brass while others beg for scraps. And that natural pointability paired with tame recoil means even under stress or after a long day hauling gear, you stay on target without fighting the gun. Sure, the trigger isn't a glass rod match grade and the ergonomics spark endless grip angle debates in comment sections. But in survival math, predictability trumps perfection every time. And at around $500 to $600 new. Depending on the gene and features, it's affordable enough to stock spares or train the whole family without draining your prep budget. It's not the flashiest with its blocky Austrian lines, no all-metal nostalgia or custom engravings, but flash gets you killed while proven keeps you breathing, and no handgun on earth has logged more miles and more hands across more hellish scenarios, making the Glock 19 not just a choice, but the default answer for anyone serious about staying armed when society hits reset. This is the one-gun solution that outlives trends, fads, and even civilizations. The quiet monarch that rules because it simply refuses to fail. That's the full arsenal, 20 handguns forged for the long, dark ahead. My Glock 19 is chambered and waiting, but your life, your call. Which one rides with you when the lights die? And where'd I screw the order? Flood the comments, let's hash it out. If this flipped your prepper script, smash that like button, hit subscribe with the bell, and send it to someone who needs the wake up. Stay frosty, stay armed, catch you on the other side.